Right, welcome back. And if you want to be part of this conversation, we're talking Department of Communications today. I guess the theme that we're kind of hanging our conversation around is working towards universal access to information and communications. And if that resonates with you, at Morning Live SABC, that's our Twitter handle, hashtag TNA BizBrief, so that we can get your questions. But we have an audience here as well at this venue, and I want to start at table number 14 with Lauren Braithwaite Kabosha. If you are here, Lauren.
Good morning. Good morning.
Do you want to just put the mic up? Yeah? Yeah. All right, I'm having an issue with your microphone. So what I'm going to try and do is get another microphone to you, if we can. Is there another microphone that we can get to the lady so that we can get her question? And don't forget, as I said, at home, at Morning Live SABC, that's our Twitter handle. We're going to start checking your questions and your concerns and your issues. But whilst we're doing that, let's just check if your microphone's working now.
African Communications Forum.
Okay, you can carry on. Thank you.
Thank you. With regard to, as the Minister mentioned, and as you've mentioned, the key focus is access to information and universal access to ICT, which is extremely important in empowering citizens, and also recognizing that citizens have to be safe online in terms of cybersecurity, in terms of child sexual abuse material. And one of the key ways of addressing that was the online content regulation policy, drafted and initially promulgated last year, which caused quite a bit of outcry, feeling that there was an attempt to regulate everything that was being put online. And I just wanted to acknowledge the new policy that was issued last month that really took into account many of the comments from industry and now allows for co-regulation and does recognize some of the limitations that the industry brought forward. So I do want to acknowledge that. And secondly, as an industry, we have really taken on and stepped up with regard to our own responsibility in developing a consumer digital literacy program that will address those concerns. And we just wanted to state that we look forward and have been working in partnership with the Film and Publications Board.
Okay, all right, so more a statement rather than a question, which is great and is allowed. Abuti Rams is on table number 7.
Morning to the Minister and to everyone in the room. My name is Abuti Rams from Business Communications, and my question is addressed to the Minister. I looked at her budget vote speech, and I feel that it was not addressing much of the cybersecurity issues that within the country and how best young people can take opportunities within the cybersecurity space.
What would you like to see as a young person?
I feel that we should be looking into what are the main opportunities that are there for small businesses, especially in the telecommunications, the ICT sector, to come up with innovative ways into mitigating some of the challenges that we have within the cybersecurity.
All right, yeah. Minister, do you want to address that?
Yes, I can do that. That's the mandate of the other department called the Department of Telecommunication and Postal Services. But as government, we are working together because also state security has got the share, justice has got the fair share. I think at cabinet level, there's a bill that is being introduced to that effect that has to deal with that. I think just watch the space. I can also share with you the details, but that's not in our mandate. It's in the mandate of the other department, the Department of Telecommunication and Postal Services.
Ma'am Pulman, there was a comment about online content, and it is a big issue globally. Are we getting it right, even before we start talking about the other issues? But your thoughts on what you've just heard?
I think the comment from the industry speaks for itself. It has been a long journey to try and find one another in this space, because our role is to ensure that the viewers, the people who use the information are protected, especially children. And it is not the intention of the Film Publications Board to literally be the police state person, but ours it was to just make sure that the information that comes to the consumer is the information that is well regulated, and people know what they are viewing, and they know how to advise others on the consumption of the material. So we are very thankful. We are also thankful that the industry has taken the responsibility to work with us, to work with the state in this responsibility of ensuring that the consumers are educated.
All right. One area that you don't deal with is the radio. And I'm going to ask Dr. Chitsumba, because the SABC has 18 radio stations. And one of the challenges that we have there is that we're hearing music, lyrics, songs that we really shouldn't be listening to. When I'm driving to school with my daughter, I'm hearing all sorts of content. It seems as if radio is allowed to do what it wants, and that television is censored. Are we doing something about that?
Yes, both radio and television adhere to the policies and regulations of the BCCSA. It might be an educational awareness to our people that they think it's only television that adheres to those policies. It includes radio. Now, the different generations on the music played on radios, and when you look at the listenership, it's the ones that it turns as if there's a new generation that will say whatever they want when they put up music there in terms of the content of the song, or which is supposed to be on the song. But we always, on our radio stations, remind listeners that if they hear anything which is not up to the policies or to the Constitution of South Africa, they must report to BCSA. It's an advert or an awareness campaign that all our radio stations run. So we adhere to those. So South Africans must also report those things to BCSA.
Okay, Minister, isn't there room perhaps for a little policy shift? Because films get judged before they go on air, whereas radio content tends to be reactive. In other words, you've got to hear it first and then complain. But by that stage, it's too late.
Yes, in terms of a policy review process, these are the issues that we are looking at. If you have heard us announcing to say we're busy now doing the review of the broadcasting policies, these are the issues that we will find expression. And then remember, it's a process that's going to be consulted so that everybody will have an opportunity to make inputs on how best can we deal with these issues.
All right. Okay, table 13, we'll find Arthur Mafukate. But what you may not know is that he's a newly appointed trustee for Brand South Africa, so he wears many hats. Arthur, you have a comment and question? Table 13.
Thank you. Thank you, Minister and honorable guests. Firstly, I would like to thank whom we call Papa Action in the music industry, Ndati Hlaudi Motsoening. For all the changes. We're very excited about the 90%. It has brought a big change to our musicians' lives. And we all know that music is part of our culture and heritage. But then sometimes we find our artists dying as paupers. And we're saying to extend this message to you, Honorable Minister, that it can still be improved after what the SABC has done, and would like to find out how can you help with other government departments that are not complying as music users, to say to them, if you can comply, this South Africa will be a beautiful South Africa, because then we won't have musicians dying as paupers. So we would like to urge you to push on other government departments to be compliant as music users. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And then on table number 10, we have Makubela.
Good morning, Minister and the entire delegation that is here today. The question I have relates to set-top boxes and the entire value chain of digital migration. There's a 30% set aside for youth and co-ops. Would like to know how far has the department gone to comply with the 30%? And how much of that in rand value would benefit youth, SMMEs and co-ops to ensure that they become part and parcel of the growing economic franchise of South Africa? I thank you.
Okay, let's deal with those two questions first.
Okay. Arthur, we thought you were going to be contributing, unlike asking question. By virtue that I believe you are here, by virtue that you are a trustee of Brand SA. And then here we are a team. We work as a collective. But nevertheless, I understand where you stand from. Then, indeed, this is a collaborated effort. Remember, together with the Ministry of Arts and Culture, we are responsible for Outcome 14, to promote social cohesion. That includes nation building. So how will I make sure that I enforce? Because these are government policies. Hence you have heard the SABC today pronouncing 90% local content, also local content when it comes to films and production. This is a government policy, which then it just had to be complied with, to be implemented. We are one government. You won't find a situation wherein other departments don't comply with the government policy. So basically that's it to say it's a collective effort. On these ones in particular, we are working together with the Ministry of Arts and Culture. So there's no way that there can be a department that they don't have to comply, because this is coming from a government policy. Collectively, as cabinet colleagues, we are responsible to implement government policies. That's the other one. Then
Yes.
coming to the other one by Makubela, on the value chain with regard to set-top boxes. Yes, that was the government policy that had to be implemented. But I must say upfront, these are the issues that we are currently looking at. Remember, the set-top box distributor is another agency in the other department, but they are accountable to us as the ministry responsible for implementing this project. This is the matters that we assist with. We are looking at them now with the board of USASA. There's a meeting that is scheduled to deal with that. We have also commissioned an investigation. I see the CEO is here, he's nodding his head as well. And then he will have to deal with that to say, we commissioned an investigation, as you heard me pronouncing in my budget speech, solely to look at those issues, because we are busy processing the report to make sure that we comply, because it's a requirement. You see, in 2008, there was also a policy that was adopted when this policy was initially submitted to cabinet, that you need to make sure that there is a local content when it comes to the manufacturing aspect of it. These are the issues that, together with USASA, we've got a brand new CEO in the name of Mr. Lumko Mtinde. It's a guru in this communication space. Together with him, we've got to make sure that all those issues are addressed. And then, as we'll be moving forward, I think we'll be holding also consultations, because we have been saying it doesn't make any sense to say that it's companies from Johannesburg that go and install set-top boxes in Kimberley. There's a lot of unemployed young people in Kimberley. That's the message that I've been saying, to say this project must be able to benefit the young people of this country. Hence, we are doing oversight to that effect. And then, yes, there were some hiccups that we are trying to unlock together with USASA, so that at the end of the day, we must achieve what the policy said has to be done.
All right, so how far are we, Minister, with this whole migration process? I know that there's some people in around the SK area who are already experiencing this as a pilot project. How far are we? When can South Africans expect to be watching digital television? Are we progressing? We've missed the deadline. You had to talk to your neighbors to make sure there's no interference, drama. How far are we along this curve?
Yes, I think the focus shouldn't be on us missing the deadline. We should just talk about the project is here. It's happening. We've launched the project on the 1st of October last year. And then we targeted the SK area, the Kemos one. That's where we officially launched the project. As I'm speaking now, there's a team that is moving all over the country, ensuring that the people register. Because remember, the policies say you need to be a South African citizen earning less than 3,200, and then you must also be able to prove your means test to say you are an indigent, all those kind of things. As we are speaking, the awareness campaign that we launched last year is still ongoing, and then people are starting to register in numbers. The uptake, remember in my budget speech, I also announced the decision to delink the TV license issue towards the set-top box, the registration process, because that was another bottleneck that we eked up, because people thought when they're saying they must bring in their TV license, it's another way to assist the SABC to collect their revenue. So we have delinked that system, because you know, most of our people, because this policy is meant for the rural poor, some of them are indigents, they are members of, they belong to the indigent register of the various municipalities. So then also there are mechanisms that we're working with the SABC to say, because to pay a TV license is a requirement by law as well, to say for those that cannot afford, this is how the payment options that they can deal with. But I want to assure you and the South Africans that as a department, I think we've made inroads in making sure that the project moves within the very short space of time. So we shouldn't be focusing much on the delays. Those that are in the industry, they will understand that this one achievement is a country that we've managed to move to make sure that it happens, and it's happening. There are people, if you visit the Northern Cape now, they are watching television. To them, it was like a dream. For the past 22 years, they never have access to television, but they will tell you now that they're having TV that's working. They've got set-top boxes that has been delivered. Yes, it's a project, it's a new one. It might have its own hiccups, but at the end of the day, I think we are dealing also with the bottlenecks to make sure that the project becomes a success. I've also announced that should we reach 80%, that's when we'll switch off from analog to digital. But it's work in progress. Remember, also in February, that was the beginning of the dual illumination period, wherein now set-top boxes are officially available in the country. That's work in progress. And then also with SADC countries, remember we've agreed, because it shouldn't look like it's all doom, you know, in the sense that last year, we engaged with our neighboring states. I've never heard of any incidents of interference, because what the deadline only meant that it was that you won't be protected from interference, frequency interference, the issues that we were managing with our SADC colleagues.
Okay. I would imagine, Mayor Pilisankomo, that this is going to be a game changer for the rural communities in terms of access to information.
Absolutely. In fact, one of the things that we're doing to support the digital policy is that we are distributing a digital broadcasting infrastructure. The second issue is that we support the local print with the development of website. I mean, now it also means that individuals are actually going to become community journalists, because they're going to be able to record stories or either write them to feed into the mainstream or either within their own communities. I mean, one of the key things, for example, we're doing this year is to looking at how to support community media around local government elections that are coming up, but as well as take up what we call a bottom-up approach of media transformation in terms of ensuring that stories that are in vernacular language are actually recorded, both in terms of broadcasting as well as print, but also look at areas where, for example, linguistically, our people would have been, for any other reason, been excluded, to ensure that we support catalytic projects of that nature.
Okay. Ambassador Makubela, I just want to grab you just before we lose you. Brand SA, it can't work without partnerships and without the people. There are millions of people watching this program right now inside South Africa and across the continent. How can they help you? And how can you motivate them to join the party, as it were?
Actually, the reputation and the maintenance of the reputation of the brand of the Republic is the responsibility of all South Africans. What we do, we really encourage excuse me, people to play their role in enhancing the reputation of the Republic. That has to do with behavioral change, issues related to social cohesion, as the Minister spoke about. For many years, we were known as a beacon of hope in terms of race relations issues. We've regressed in this respect, but there are new approaches in dealing with these issues that are really tainting the reputation of the Republic. So we encourage people to do their fair share in dealing with these issues. So that's what we do, and there are programs that are specifically in place. But we really need to embed in people the idea of some level of patriotism. So we're engaging at people at very young age. We go to schools, we deal with issues related to the pride that we so much have in our Constitution. But that's not the only thing, Peter. Business here, organized business here, they've mobilized about 14 million rand to come up with a campaign that they call We Belong, to encourage South Africans to play a role that we belong in this country, all of us. So there are a lot of initiatives that are going on that are enhancing the reputation of the Republic.
All right, thank you very much indeed for sharing those thoughts with us. We're going to have to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll continue with that conversation. And I promise I will pick up your tweets off Twitter, so stay with us for that.